What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours nonstop MLB DFS conversation. It starts right now, taking you all the way up the lock, all the way up the first pitch. If you're not aware, if you missed it, we started with 10. We're down to 9. Lots of rain in the forecast. We got some orange. We got some red. The Milwaukee Brewers and the New York Mets just got officially postponed. Not at our slate, but Detroit and Washington is also donezo, as well as San Diego and Philadelphia. Of course, we're talking about the main slates. Starting on Fanduel and DraftKings tonight at 7:05 on the East Coast. Again, we're down to 9. Cincinnati, Boston looks especially dicey at straight orange. I'll drop this in chat for the people. Yellow, orange, and Atlanta as well. I think that's pretty much it. Yellow in Tampa, that doesn't seem very dicey. Of course, Roth will be on in an hour and change for crunch time, give you an update, see if anything new pops up, give you some more clarity, add some color to these colors, although there's actually some color in the article, so read that at your own leisure. Myself and the returning champion, it's Chop. Chop, happy Tuesday. It's a television Tuesday. Get excited. We haven't done television Tuesday in a while for some reason. I think it's on me, but today we do have a television Tuesday for the people, and I guess we can drop the first clue, just get it out of the way, and the first clue would be talk. Talk is the first clue for television Tuesday. How's your day, Chop? Everything going right in your world?
Yeah, Dean, we're doing the thing. We're doing it. I will say this, Dean. I told you that I had some little gnat there on the screen. Had told you some of my family was the Beyonce concert in Houston, and they made it back this afternoon. So they made it back. That's good. And I will say that I definitely got a little bored while they were gone. So I decided to watch some movies, catch up on some movies that I've had in my queue for a long time that I just haven't really gotten a chance to dig into. Last night, Dean, for the first time ever, I saw Incendies. I don't know if you've seen it, but I think you're on mute, man.
Wait, you're saying Incendies? How are you?
Incendies?
I don't know how do we spell that?
Wow, so you've never seen it then?
I don't think I'm aware of it.
Because if you've seen it, you've definitely remembered the name for sure.
No, I've not seen it. I'm not aware of it.
Dennis Villeneuve movie.
Okay.
Oh man, that was powerful. That was powerful. Oh yeah, that was powerful, Dean.
Where is it streaming?
I had to pay the three and change on Prime.
Oh my God, you splurged. You paid the $3.
It was I've heard good things, and it was definitely worth it. It was on point, man. Yeah.
I'll put it in the queue. I'll fire it in the queue there. Okay. The chat's saying it's an Insidious.
Oh, I mean, I might not know. It's from actually, Dean, I almost bailed on it after 5 minutes because it is subtitles, because it is a foreign country film.
You were bot committed though. You paid $3.
I know. If I didn't pay for it, I probably would have bailed on it. But yeah, so it's good if I sat through the subtitles.
I mean, is that like? Have you seen Parasite?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there's subtitles in that movie too. I'm just trying to. That's not a complete deal breaker.
No.
Anatomy of a Murder. That's another good subtitle movie recently. That was one
really good. The best subtitle movie that you've never seen.
Okay. Oh, is it Apocalypto or whatever?
Yes.
I still haven't seen that. Yeah, I know it's one of your favorites. One of these days we'll get around to it, I suppose. Down to 9 games again, losing the Mets and Milwaukee. If you guys didn't know, I assume most people are. What's up, chat? Hit that like button and subscribe and turn on those notifications. And if you do want to play along for Television Tuesday, tell me what TV show I'm talking about in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Most of our Discord channels are free. That happens to be a free channel. 1 guess per clue drop. You cannot MME, only do that in DFS. And the first person to tell me what movie I'm talking about, what TV show I'm talking about, you get a week free of RG Premium, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA, NBA. I know it's not in season. WNBA, all the goods, all the bells, all the whistles, all the articles. There you go. Everything but NASCAR. NASCAR is an a la carte piece. All right, Chop. 9-gamer. Give me the overview. We have your Houston Astros are in Coors against a righty. It feels kind of like bad chalk to me. It feels kind of bad to me. I'm probably going to be out. We have no lineup just yet for Houston for what it's worth. But we're going to get a slew of righties against Dollander. They have a 6 total. Nobody else has a 6 total. I think one other team, the Dodgers, have a total closing in on 6. 5.76 if you want to get all technical there. Home alone against the Shane Smith and Chicago White Sox. I guess the Rockies on our side. We have Hunter Goodman back against Colton Gordon. The Rockies have a 5 total, but not a lot of incredible spots for offenses. Atlanta looks pretty good against Tyler Anderson. They have a 5.5 total as well. And both teams, if the game plays in Fenway, Cincinnati and Boston right on the verge of 5 as well. So there are plenty of offenses to consider. Tampa again against the lefty. They do goofy stuff with pinch hit stuff. We saw it last night. Lowe, Lau were both coming off the bench. They both jumped in there, so it kind of kills your stack somewhat. They are starting Brandon Lau tonight for what it's worth, and Lowe. So both those guys are starting, so they will very likely stick around. Chop, overview, screenshot, how are we seeing tonight's slate?
I don't know. I really wasn't paying attention to you. I was hitting the Google machine. It's telling me it's pronounced Ansandi, Dean. Ansandi.
Okay.
It's
Chat was lying to me.
Spelled with an I.
Ansandi.
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 Yeah, see, it's like they're from Canada, but then it goes through the Middle East. So, okay. So TJ's from Canada, so he should know.
Or just French. Didn't even know it's French.
It means French. Fires or blazes.
Yes, you figure that out later on, but
I have the Google. Yeah,
but yeah, Ansandi. My French is a little rusty, Dean. You know what I'm saying? But
did you take French in high school?
No, it's a good movie though. It's really good. Subtitles and all, you know. The overview. I don't know. Now we got this weather stuff to worry about. Yeah, it's just weird. Tough slate. I shouldn't have signed up for multi-entry on Fanduel, but I did. Can't easily cancel that stuff out, so I'm gonna stick with it. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be overview, some good pitching, more good hitting than good pitching. No, even though it's relatively balanced. There's good pitching too. And then you got to dodge the weather. You got to figure out what you want to do with the weather. And then you got the course field, but as we'll talk about later on, course field's kind of I'm not accusing them of using a humidor or anything behind our backs, but you know, they do kind of like offense isn't quite as good right now as it has been in the past.
It's out in the open, Chop. They use a humidor. It's not sneaky. They use a humidor. Like it's just a known thing.
Really? Yeah. Man, they got me. I'm stacking that no more. No,
it's just like a known thing. I'm like 99% sure that's true.
I thought they did away with the humidor, but okay, if you say they got it, they got it. But I mean, the dimensions of the park are still solid in the altitude, but you know, the Astros, Rockies, the Rockies are a bad offense. That contributes to the lower numbers in course field. And then they're facing an Astros offense tonight that is without Pena now for a long time. So their 2 best hitters are on the injured list. And, you know, so it's tough going. So,
yeah,
that almost cancels out the effects of course field. But, yeah, it's going to be it's an interesting slate that we're going to dig into.
Is Christian Walker is he dust? Is he toast? Is it over?
Nah. I think it definitely hadn't had a good start to the year. But like I've said a couple times on the show, some of his hard hit stuff is a lot better than the like batting average you're giving me and stuff like some of his hard hit numbers. He's had some good splurges this year. I think he'll be all right as soon as this lineup gets healthy and then, you know, get some base runners on for him and, you know, stuff like that. I think he'll be all right. I don't think he's totally washed. I mean, if they went from Abreu and then Abreu was like instantly washed, and then you get Christian Walker and he's instantly washed, they'll never give a first baseman another big contract again.
Yeah, are we calling Alvarez a first baseman? I know he's not washed, but he's hurt, and
he can't.
Again, your Astros are big liars. They lied about Kyle Tucker last year. I'd say a bone bruise. He's going to be fine. And they just kept lying about it. And they lied about Jordan Alvarez. It took them forever to find out what was wrong with him.
Maybe they're not lying. Maybe they're not lying, Dean.
Okay, then their doctors are incompetent.
That is, I'd lean on the doctors not being very competent is what I would lean on right now. There's been a multiple player thing where they've, let's not forget about Lance McCullers, man. Like, it took him forever, and he finally got a surgery later on because they kept putting it off and telling him he could rehab it and get back. And yeah, maybe they are just totally washed as doctors, but I don't know. And then the Pena
doctors
thing,
get washed around 60. When does it hit?
The Pena thing is also another thing where guy took a shot to the ribs with a fastball and fractured him, man. Just out of guys get hit 1,000 times and you don't fracture a rib, but it happens to Pena. They're just running on some bad luck with injuries right now. But I don't know. It's a good slate, Dean, so it should be fun.
Yeah, the diciest weather right now is going to be Cincinnati and Boston, where the two of the more appealing offenses, especially the Boston side, in my opinion. Singer taking on Richard Fitz, throwing baseballs tonight for Boston, allegedly, assuming that game goes. I did drop the article here, Ross article in chat. Last we have it is straight orange. Looks increasingly likely storms will be around early in Boston and won't clear until 10 p.m. or so. Postpone risk here. If it's a pitcher risk, then who cares, right? I don't think anybody's rostering Singer or Fitz outside of like something really, really goofy in a large field tournament.
Slow down now.
Oh, are you in on Fitz?
I've got 10 guys. I struggled to get 10 guys on there today because I had 9, but then I didn't want to, I don't like odd numbers on my list. So I had to force a 10th guy in there.
What?
No,
you don't like either 9 pitchers or you can't have 9 pitchers or 11 pitchers. You have to have 10 or 8.
I tell you, man. Yeah. I'm like that in a lot of different my sound.
When you pump gas, you have to end in a 0 or into the 9 or something.
That when I'm doing the volume on the TV and you can see it, flipping up volume. I can't land on an odd number. I've got to click it up one more notch to get.
I've done that before too. It's
so
psychotic.
But he made the final 10. He was last man in, cheap price tag. Some of his numbers aren't that bad, and since he's a bad offense, period. But obviously the weather's going to mess that up now. But what they say in Boston, Dean, if Dick fits, you must have quit.
That's what they say in Boston. I don't think that's a saying in Boston. I'm pretty sure. I know what you're referencing, but I don't believe that's a. Is Kirkwood around? Maybe he can confirm or deny, or Bobby Gomes, either one of them hanging around. I don't think that's a thing. Fairly certain that's not a thing. But maybe you know better than I do. You mentioned 10 pitchers, Chop. How many lineups are we talking about? 50, 100, 25?
No, listen. On DraftKings, it's one lineup.
Okay.
On Fanduel, no, it won't be that many. I'm just telling you, when I trim the fat from the slate at pitching, there's 10 guys remaining that I could see a viable chance at rostering. I won't roster all 10. I'll cut that before I do my Fanduel 100 lineups. That'll be down to 5 guys at the most. But there's 10 guys I can see, and I would not have I could make a case for. So I don't know. We'll get into it here in a minute, right?
Yeah, so on DK, you got to roster 2 pitchers, obviously. Most popular pitcher on the board currently, and, stuff will shuffle around if we get more postponements and things like that. Jacob deGrom, 45% against Baltimore. That's a big boy number for sure. Yamamoto coming at 28%, Baz coming at 23%, Grant Holmes at 22%, Boyd at 20%. So it's deGrom in kind of his own tier when it comes to ownership. Yamamoto, Baz, Holmes, Boyd, all around 20%. And then there's a step down to Zach Gallen at 13%, Lorenzen, Hancock, just because he's cheap. He's cheap, he's home, and he's facing the terrible Royals. Chop, I can see you wanting to play a Hancock fit stack.
That's the problem, Dean. That's the problem with people these days.
What's that?
Too many of them are just looking for a cheap hand job.
A cheap hand? Okay.
Yes.
That's a problem.
They're looking for a cheap hand.
Well, that's what he's there if you want it. It's available. If that's
but
if that's
you know,
what
you
sign
get
up
what
for.
you pay for. You get what you pay for.
All those guys in your pool, they're all in your pool there. DeGrom,
Who?
Yamamoto, Baz, Holmes, Boyd. Gallen stinks now. Just I'm not sure if you're aware.
He's not in my
good
pool.
anymore.
Nah,
He's not good anymore. He's a name
No,
brand.
he stinks. Yamamoto is my number one guy over DeGrom. That'd be my number one guy. Couple of reasons. Mainly, I guess. I mean, this guy's consistent as heck. Like DeGrom, you never know. He's been really good this year. But you never know when you might get a rug pull at like 80 pitches or something. I don't know. You know, it's DeGrom, man. He's pretty fragile. Yamamoto, they'll run him out there, man, as much as they can. You know, like he'll get up over 100 pitches and exceed that. I like that about it. I think he's a little bit safer floor, and I think it's a better matchup than Baltimore. Baltimore can sometimes hit the ball, Dean. You know they've got some talent. White Sox don't, so I favor Yamamoto. A team total for the White Sox of 2.7 when I updated my sheet earlier. That stands out. Stands out for Yamamoto. So he's my number one. But yes, DeGrom's in there. Matt Boyd is in there. Shane Baz and Grant Holmes. Top 5 right there for me. No doubt about it. And then those are the 5 I'd be eyeballing on FanDuel. And then the other 5 that I mentioned, yeah, I probably won't, but I could definitely see that's something you could. You mentioned somebody at first. Oh, Gallon's washed. Who else did you mention?
Boyd.
Yeah,
Baz?
Boyd's good. No, let me see. I forget. I was gonna make a case for somebody, but that's okay.
Hancock?
No, definitely not. He's out of there. He just doesn't strike out enough. I get it, man. I get that. People want to take in a big ballpark. It's not a great offense, and he's a cheap price tag. But nah, there's like a 17% strikeout rate. There's just too many paths for him not to get there. I'm not playing that. I'm not playing that one, man.
Just to be clear, the chat's talking about postponed games. We lost Milwaukee and the Mets. Cincinnati, Boston, currently orange. LA, the Angels. At Atlanta, currently yellow-orange. Otherwise, everything else looks pretty fine. Roth will be on the clarify. What else, if anything pops up. But, yeah, it's yellow, straight yellow in Tampa. I'm not really alarmed there. Yellow-green in Coors. Obviously not really alarmed there either. But Holmes, Grant Holmes throwing baseballs against the Angels, I think is certainly somebody we want a clean path for some innings.
Yeah, he's good, Dean. I remember what I was going to tell you a minute ago that I was going to bring up. What happened, man? You know who won the slate last night, don't you? Stack. What happened to your boy, man?
Yeah, it's funny. TJ's talking about it in chat too. SimLabs was saying Boston was the best team to play. And then I had a lot of burns, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make one Boston stack just in case. And I started making it at 7:03, and I clicked it like a second after the game started, and I did not get my Boston stack in, and I'm still kind of annoyed about that. Somehow kind of salvaged the night with some Corey Seager. I think was it Corey? Maybe it was different nights. I'm confused. Somebody got me there last night that made it to where it wasn't terrible. I got some money back, so it wasn't completely horrendous. But yeah, I'm kind of bummed that I did have a Ibar. First person since I want to say Roger Maris to hit a grand slam and an inside the park home run in the same game. There you go. Bet you waiting for that trivia.
Insane, Dean. Just flat out insane. But that was I was sitting there watching that thinking, boy.
He was tipping his pitches, right? Like I don't know this, but it certainly felt like that.
That's what I heard this morning, but also when you watch it, this is major league hitters. You have to be able to change it up a little bit. You can't be in the same spot in the strike zone over and over. You're going to get hit. So it's a learning process, but hopefully he'll grow from it. But I did hear somebody say maybe he was tipping pitches, but I don't know about all
that. Cam is saying there's video evidence suggesting that he was lifting his leg. Okay. It's just like everybody was raking. Everybody was raking off him. I think they were pouncing early too. Like it wasn't that he was throwing a lot of pitches. They hooked him in the first inning. It gave up, I think, 6 or 7 runs or so. Was it Story at a homer to dead center? It was just an absolute mauling. And I assume he'll be fine eventually. You know, obviously he's still just 21 or whatever he is, mega prospect, and you know he'll be cheaper next time. I think we'll see how the algorithm spits him out, but I'm certainly going to be interested depending on. But yeah, several people in chat are talking about how apparently there was a tipping of the pitches, and he has like a big fastball and a couple big breakers. So when you know what's coming, obviously it makes it much easier against somebody with such distinct pitches. DeGrom versus Yamamoto. You see, you like Yamamoto over DeGrom. It is worth noting. We talk about Baltimore being, you know, one of the more disappointing teams this season. They're very good against righties. Like as far as their numbers are, they've been horrendous against lefties. Numbers pretty good against righties, but they will strike out against them. Pulling up the old plate IQ, 24%. They're in the green though on 7 of their 9 players. The exception is, I guess no, just 8 of the 9 actually, are at least touching green on plate IQ. Urias is the only guy that's not there. I don't think this is necessarily a thing, but DeGrom does have 29.4% Ks versus lefties this year, 21.7 versus righties. I don't think it's going to be that much of a discrepancy as the year continues. Of course, there's a chance his Ks just bump up that high because they're a little bit down. So it wouldn't surprise me if they jump back up there. You know, not necessarily when he was peak DeGrom. He was getting, 35% Ks. But I like him a good bit. We talked about Holmes against the Angels, weather permitting. There are some strikeouts in that Angels lineup. They strike out a good bit. Today's lineup, 25%. Everybody, with the exception of Sean Whale and Rengifo, in the red to some degree. Of course, there's some power there as well. And Holmes will supply some power. So this could be a situation where he gives up 2 homers and strikes out 8, something like that. Hopefully there is nobody on base if you roster him. Just a couple solo jobs. It's not a big deal. AJ said there's a John Boy video. How good is John Boy? Do you watch the John Boy videos? Always spectacular. The breakdowns. Oh, come on, Chop. Are you serious?
He's a hack.
You don't enjoy that? He's a hack?
Yeah.
Who does it better? Who does John Boy's job better? You can't name anybody.
I don't need his job. I don't need his job to be present in this world. He's a hack.
You don't like the lip reading stuff? I like the little he breaks down like the subtle little intricacies of baseball. Kind of a boring sport.
He's making stuff up.
No.
Yeah, hack.
Okay, hold on.
Get him off my feed, please.
TJ, can we make a poll? Is John Boy a hack? Let's see if the people are with Chop on this one or not. Is John Boy? And if you don't know who he is, give him a Google and find out yourself. But I enjoy his content. But all right, well, we'll see what the chat has to say. Second clue, by the way, for Television Tuesday. Nobody got it just yet in 1. Talk is the first clue. The second clue, Chop, is sing. Talk and sing. That's our first 2 clues for Television Tuesday. Cheapest pitcher on the roster, is that Emerson?
Well, technically speaking, if the weather did hold, and if we had no weather concerns, it would be Dick Fitz. But we do have weather concerns. So, Dean, so I'm not going to roster him, right? I'm not going to roster. I told you the 5 guys I would roster. And the bottom guy there is Shane Baz at 8,800. But I'm just giving you GPP plays here that are within my 10 pitcher parameter here that maybe you could play. And the cheapest one, other than Dick Fitz, hold on to your chair here, Dean. It's Colton Gordon.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm not playing him. I'm just saying in GPPs. Like I don't think there's much there for him, but he has been solid, man. Like all the projections have him as middle to back of the rotation guy. You know, not a ton of like overly superlative stuff that he has, but he's piecing it together right now. The league hasn't caught on to him just yet. You know, the nice XFIP, nice Sierra, 22% K rate. I don't think Coors Field, the atmosphere is going to hurt him very much. The lineup is bad. He's the cheapest guy. You asked me who the cheapest guy was. Colton Gordon, like in GPPs. So I'd say that, but I mean, I won't roster him. I'm not rostering the guy, but he's part of the 10 that I could see, like I could make a case for, like I just did. That's all I can say.
It's one of the more contact-heavy Colorado lineups, 21.2%, which is not a massive number. You have, Beck strikes out a ton, so does Goodman. Those are also the 2 best hitters from a power perspective. Toglia, I guess the third one, sort of all or nothing guys.
I've got them at 4 high K guys, 2 high WRC plus guys. So I'm fine with that lineup they put out there.
Yeah. And Gordon's been good. I just don't really buy it. And like, it's not that he's been super lucky either. He's not walking anybody. 2.9% as far as the walks. Like the Sierra's the 3.56, the XFIP is 3.47. You can actually argue he's been unlucky with almost a 4 ERA. BABIP at 3.31, a little bit high. Left on base, also pretty fortunate at 81.8%.
And
not a highly touted guy either, right? Colton Gordon.
No, like I said, like back of the rotation is the projection for him. So it was never supposed to be. But some guys will overachieve, and at least for right now, it's not. The Astros bring these guys up back of the rotation, and they actually do. They feel, they eat up innings, and there's a lot of guys like that. So maybe they just got some good. But we're here, Dean. We're on Colton Gordon. He's backed by. My metrics say the second best bullpen in baseball. That's definitely can change. And that brings us to the top reliever profile of the day, Dean. Why
was
not?
Such a big deal. People were DMing me, hundreds of people. I couldn't even tell you. They said, make sure Chop keeps that bit going. So I'm glad you brought it up.
I mean, we're right here. We're in Coors Field, but brings us to the Astros bullpen, Dean. And they got some power arms in there. Haters like 23 for 23 save opportunities. Brian Abreu's been awesome since they first unleashed him in the bullpen. He was a failed starter, by the way, like back in like 2021. Then they gave him the crack in 2022 to become a full-time reliever in the majors. And a lot of failed starters are really good. But the guy I'm going to highlight today, Dean, is Bennett Sosa, a little left-hander. I'd say a late bloomer, but really a guy that just didn't get an opportunity till later on. But, man, he's been good. Now, he's been really good this year. But it's coming off the tails of a season last year where it wasn't bad at all. So I don't think this is flukish. But this year, he's Astros bullpen loaded with left-handed. Too many left-handed arms. They need a right-handed arm in there. They got too many lefties that are really good. But Sosa left-hander, 235 XFIP. Got that going for you. 33% K rate. Big K rate guy. 21% swinging strike rate, Dean. 21% swinging. That's
a big boy number.
That's a big boy number. He's a 2-pitch pitcher, like most bullpen guys are, but 2 dominant pitches. Comes in with the 4-seamer, and it attacks. The 4-seamer attacks the top of the zone, Dean. Right? I did my cliff notes for you. And he's got a great
research this.
He's got a great slider too, Dean. The slider, he's a lefty, right? Lefty. So the slider goes down and in to right-handers. So he's attacking top of the zone, down and in. Unlike what your boy was doing last night against Boston, you can't stay in the same spot. You gotta move it around a little bit. He does it like I think he's a power. He's a really good on. He's actually got a little power there. He's not softball tossing out there. He's got a little 96 on him. So yeah, Bennett Sosa, the Shop's top reliever profile of the day.
We gotta have some kind of catchier way of saying that's really wordy. You got maybe somebody from the chat can give us
work in progress. Who knows? We didn't start off day one with choppers knockers, man. You know what I'm saying? Work in progress.
Speaking of the gimmicks, yesterday I know Spidey had a couple homers, so shout out to Spidey. I was going to say shout out to TJ, but TJ just a vessel, telling you what Spidey likes. I did see the first Spidey bomb drop because I guess he wants to hit the first threshold for likes. I think it's 50. Every 50 we get a new Spidey bomb. Today's first one is Matt Olson taking on the reverse splitsy left-hander and Tyler Anderson. Just checking out some guesses here in the Discord. Today's Television Tuesday. It is Talk and Sing. Great guesses. Some really good guesses. Kelly Clarkson show. It's not that. Nobody's got it just yet. It's not Lip Sync Battle or America's Got Talent. Chop back in the day was big wild and out guy. I can see Chop being a big wild and out guy. Not that either, or The Voice. But lots of guesses coming in here. We'll get a new clue dropped shortly. It's also not The Masked Singer or Jerry Springer. All right. Anything else you want to say as far as pitchers, as far as the slate, Chop?
No, I think we covered all the pitchers that are viable.
Okay, I just want to see if we're getting any new lineups coming in. Still no Rangers. Waiting on Houston. No Houston lineup just yet. No Kansas City. No San Fran. That makes sense. They're on the West Coast. Same with the Dodgers. and the White Sox, and of course Milwaukee and the Mets that got wiped out. So we are down to 9. All right. Chop, you know what day today is? Speaking of TJ, it's not his birthday.
Oh.
We did a terrible job forgetting his birthday. How rude of us. But I did not. I made sure not to forget.
Well,
Chop.
actually, we did a great job forgetting his birthday. We did a terrible job celebrating it.
That's a good point. Yes, I did an awesome job, just completely not knowing it was his birthday. Shout out to me. But it's Canada Day. July 1st is Canada Day. So shout out to Canada. And I was thinking of today's tiers. And as I was doing, what can I do with Canada Day? I happened to be listening to some music. So I was listening to music. And what do you know? My favorite Canadian band happened to be playing as I was thinking of it. Oh, okay. So we're going to rank Canada's musicians, Canada's artists. So Chop, chat, you tell me what is your favorite Canadian artist or least favorite, depending on whichever way you want to go with that. Chop?
What? Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, I
mean, Canadian artists.
Yeah,
Canadian singers?
Sure, singers, bands, however you want to answer that question. Yeah.
I don't, Dean.
Do you not
the only
know
one
any?
I could even think of specifically from Canada is Drake.
Okay.
And I don't even know that that's one of my favorites at all. Oh, Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
He's from Canada. He had some jams back in the day. I can't really tell you a whole lot about Canadian music, but I'm interested.
Dion.
Oh, is she? Oh, yeah.
French Canadian.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't be on my list. Would not be on my list, but you know, I'm interested to see what's out there, man. So give it to me.
Yeah. So I was listening to. Now this is my favorite Canadian band, so it doesn't have to be everybody else's favorite. TJ already yelled at me. I can't believe you put them in the one spot. Well, it's my list.
I didn't yell at you. I simply just asked for clarification on if you were like doing like a ranking of like critically, if there were like awards like this is the best Canadian band, second, third, worst, or if it were like these are my favorites, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, so my favorites Canadian band, Chop, happens to be Arcade Fire. So Arcade Fire lands in the one hole. Check out Arcade Fire if you're not aware. You gave me
never heard of it.
Listen to Funeral. It's like one of the best albums of the last 20
years.
Can I
do that right now?
Well, I mean, probably not. It's going to make the rest of the show kind of weird, but maybe you can put it down really, really low and you'll listen to it just very subtly. But yeah, I have Arcade Fire as my number 1. Some of the other names have been thrown out in chat. You did mention Drake, and to be fair, I'll be fair. I don't really know a lot about Drake. I know he's a big fan of the Raptors and whatever team was winning at the time. He tends to mush some teams. But the Super Bowl told me he's not somebody I'm supposed to like. So I put him all the way down in the 4 hole. Maybe it's unfair. Maybe I did that, did him dirty. I don't know. A lot of sports set in the 2 hole. She's so much more than Jagged Little Pill. You know, the greatest selling debut album of all time. I think it's 33 million, if I'm not mistaken. 33 million. Like, imagine that. I don't know who buys albums or CDs anymore. Nobody's buying 30. There's not 33 million being sold by anybody. But she's grossly underrated because people think of her just mostly for you ought to know. That is incorrect. She has had a spectacular career. I put Rush in the 3 hole, Chop. I can respect them as musicians. They're great musicians. The 3 of them make spectacular noise. I just never really feel like listening to Rush. So I don't really get in. Never really got into it. They're great at what they do. They're awesome, but I don't get excited by them. I don't know. You have a Rush take. You're probably aware of Rush. Don't realize it. Maybe not.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't rank them in the top 2. I think 3's fine. I'm with you, Dean. I agree with that. Keep on going on your list here. I want to hear what you have to say.
I put Rush in the 3 hole because Rush is great, but not really for me. But I can't besmirch them. Drake, again, I put Drake in the 4 hole mostly because Kendrick Lamar told me that's where they should go. And then Nickelback, of course. I debated between Nickelback and Justin Bieber, the Biebs. But, Nickelback is just like schlock. It's just nonsense. And I know the masses love it, and they can have it, and they can enjoy themselves, but it's not for me. Others receiving votes, like Avril Lavigne was on the board. There's Tim in the chat saying that Rush should be number 1. I I want Broken Social Scene, another spectacular Canadian band, did not make the board. No Neil Young. You can only rank 5. So New Pornographers, another spectacular band.
What?
The New Pornographers?
Who?
Give it a Google.
Never. No.
Be very careful how you Google
No,
that.
I will not do that, Dean.
Metric. All right, I'll stop with my Canadian. I'll let you piece. I'll stop with my Canadian bands.
Nickelback in 5 is interesting.
Yeah.
Because that's the chalk. Everybody's going to say that. But you give me a break. Every single one of us was listening to Nickelback and jamming. This is how you remind me. That was a jam, man. Everybody was listening to Nickelback. So, yeah, they get a bad rap. But I'm going to throw a name out to you. I Googled a few Canadian artists, Dean, and these jump. I'll throw a couple names to you. Way at the top of my list. Maybe even number 1. I would have put Shania Twain. My goodness.
Okay.
She's I think she still got it. I don't think she's lost her fastball very much over the years. She's still on there, but she was good back. And another one, Dean, really a couple really good jams. Nelly Furtado. Nelly Furtado was really good.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's
like
about all I got. Oh, what a jam. That was a spectacular song.
What's your second favorite Nelly Furtado song?
I'm not sure. I'd have to Google that. One song is all you need these days. One song can propel you to being one of the best ever.
The Guess Who, Tragically Hip. Yeah. Tim is also touting Bryan Adams. Yeah, I forgot about Canada's own Bryan Adams. There's a lot. Gordon Lightfoot. Come on. Tim, seriously. That's a bad call, Tim. That's a bad call. Yeah, but it appears the chat is playing the role of Shania Twain because my list does not impress them much, but that's fine. That's my list. And yeah, Bare Naked Ladies, they're kind of mid for me, but I hear you. They were considered somewhat. And Sum 41, I'm surprised that TJ's not jumped in here and touted Sum 41 because I feel like that
was my first comment on the matter. They would be my number 1 personally.
Did you say that to me personally or just say it in the chat? Because I don't remember you saying
I said that in the chat.
Okay, I just missed it. Okay.
They would be like my own personal number 1.
Yeah. They're fine. They're fine. Okay, let's go ahead and throw some teams and some tiers, Chop. First game we're going to talk about. It is, well, again, we lost Milwaukee in the Mets down to 9. Jeffrey Springs, revenge game, throwing baseballs against Shane Baz, left-hander. They did start some of their regular lefties. Lau and Lowe are both in there. Shane Baz on the other side. We saw the reemergence of Langoliers, and he banged out a homer. His rerun job, his first AB since coming back off the IL. He's back in the lineup once again. Baz versus Springs. Significant favorite here. Tampa, St. Pete. Over a 5-team total. Where are you throwing the Rays and the A's?
First game on the board. Rays, A's. Shane Baz, I have a lot of interest in Shane Baz pitching tonight, so naturally I have not as much interest in stacking against him. So even though it's a good hitter's park, Oakland's going in tier 4. I think Shane Baz is pretty good, so going that route. Tampa, on the other hand, I don't believe in Jeffrey Springs as much. So Tampa's going in tier 2. Wish the lineup was a little stronger, but it is what it is. Tampa's going in tier 2. I like the park. I like the matchup. So that's how we see it. 2 and 4.
I think the matchup's better though for the back end, and it's also better for lack of pinch hit stuff. So I feel like it's kind of better, even though I understand what you're saying, the left on left stuff out the gate. Mr. Yancey in chat, it says, y'all owe me some money. The Chase Brown pick was so bad. I'm guessing this is not like a best ball take, and he's talking about Chase
Brown.
Burns.
If I've ever seen a bot, because no one's talked about Chase Brown in months.
Who?
But I think it's a reference to Chase Burns. I think Yancey's upset about Chase Burns yesterday.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. I think
that's what's happening.
I thought it was literally a bot coming to talk about Chase Brown, the running back.
Yeah, egg on my face, recommending the number 1 pitching prospect in baseball. I had him too. It wasn't great. All right, let's move along and talk about Cincinnati and Boston. It's a 10 total. Brady Singer versus Richard Fitz. Boston is the slight favorite here. Again, this game is, let's go ahead and refresh. Roth will be on in about a half hour, but last we saw it was straight orange weather-wise. I think it still is. He did update the article. I'll go ahead and drop this in chat for the people. But you tell me, Boston, Cincinnati, Fitz versus Singer. What do you got?
You know what they say in Boston? If the dick fits, you must have quit.
You said it 20 minutes ago. It must be true if you say it twice.
Makes sense. It just makes sense.
You're saying a quit how does that how does that equate to rostering a pitcher or not rostering a pitcher? You mean that means don't roster him?
Well, you just got to figure that one out. I can't spoon feed you everything here on the show.
I don't think the saying makes any sense.
I think it does. It's a play on words. You can't.
I get it, but it still doesn't make
no, it's a play on words, man. Get with the program.
I understand.
I'm feeling like, what I said a minute ago in regard to Dick Fitz was mainly because of that $5,500 salary and me having and just wanting to get one last pitcher in there. But I don't really like him. So I'm putting Cincinnati in tier 2. I think, there's much more of a chance the offense blows up in this game. But the same thing with Boston. They're going in tier 2 also. I think both these teams are tier 2 teams. I think they're both in good matchups. I hope this game plays because I do like the offenses here in terms of the matchups. And then once the starting pitchers leave, the bullpens that you're going to see, I think this is a pretty good stackable game right here.
So let me go ahead and read what Roth wrote because I think it's worth reading. Atlanta Storm should be moving in pretty close to first pitch, likely a bit after. The heavy stuff clears after maybe an hour, but there's still light rain beyond that for a few more hours. I'm not really sure what the game plan is here because a late start can turn it into a 10 p.m. start, and an on-time start can turn it into a few innings followed by a long, long break. I think if I were them, I'd just postpone it and avoid the drama. Worth noting is probably Cincinnati. I didn't go through it, but I would imagine it's probably Cincinnati's only visit to Fenway this year. So they probably want to get stuff in. It's not like this is the Yankees where they can figure it out at a later date much easier. But, again, Roth will be on, more clarity. We'll keep an eye on it. It's 7:10 as far as the start, so crunch time should get some news. Clue number 4, Chop. No winners just yet in television Tuesday. By the way, you are not participating, Chop. I don't know if you're too busy. If you're listening to Arcade Fire.
Oh, man. I'll put you on. Okay, I'm going to do nobody's. I know that we're not on the right
Somebody
track.
already guessed Glee. It's not Glee.
Okay. I know we're not on the right track here. I don't think I think we're all off. You're throwing the sing out there. It's not a singing competition. I don't know what's going on here. But give me clue 4.
Well, clue number 3. The first 2 clues were talk and sing. The third clue is miracle. Miracle. Talk, sing, and miracle. All right. Next game up is the Angels. The Angels at Atlanta. Grant Holmes, significant favorite, minus 206 versus the Angels, 9.5 total. Atlanta's got one of the bigger totals on the board at 5.5, taking on Tyler Anderson, who's kind of reverse splitsy. Where do you have the Braves and the Angels?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that postponement messed up my board. Okay. All right, we're good. We're going to go Braves Angels now.
You had a pattern. You built a pattern out. Now you got to throw it away.
No. I had the games. Had the game spread out numerically. Based on starting time, and then that game threw me off because now I forgot to delete it. Anyway, Atlanta, LA. All right, this is the tale of two teams right here. LA Angels going against Grant Holmes. I kind of think Grant Holmes is okay. Just all his metrics are fine. Angels, not a great line. I'm going tier 5 for LA. Straight up tier 5 down there. And on the flip side, Atlanta, I love it. I love picking on Tyler Anderson here. Love it. Going tier 1, Atlanta, all the way up at top. Let's do it. The thing about them is they got a lot of left-handers in there against a left-handed pitcher. But he's so reverse splitsy, we're going to get away with it. I love it. So let's do it.
On the season, Tyler Anderson, a 317 ISO versus lefties, a 426 WOBA versus lefties. That is really, really bad. That's very bad. But I do want to read what Roth wrote about this too, because the first thing he writes might scare you a little bit. Not trying to scare you, but the first thing he says for the Angels and Atlanta, simply put, playing with fire. Scattered showers and storms around all night. Any of them, if they happen to pop up over the park, could cause a delay. There's also a stronger line expected a bit later, maybe 9, 10 o'clock, which would be an issue if one of them pop-up storms causes a delay earlier. I think they'd play, but I don't know what it takes to make that happen. And while you could get lucky and avoid a delay, Pitchers are not safe.
You ever seen the movie Signs, Dean? Signs?
I have, yes.
And you know how the movie goes, like
water.
All these little signs eventually point to a bigger meaning in the end, and you finally get it and it clicks. I'm seeing like some signs here today.
Okay.
Signs. For some reason, I brought up Ansandi, which means fire, which means fire. You got Arcade Fire up top.
Whoa.
And Roth says we're playing with fire. I'm thinking this is the stack of the century, Atlanta. Stack of the century. The signs are pointing towards it.
Are the Chicago Fire playing tonight? I don't know if they're playing. I'm just trying to think how we can take advantage of this. But that's the name of the MLS team, I believe, the Chicago Fire, if you're not aware. Okay. Nobody's guessed it just yet, I don't think. I don't think people winner just yet for Television Tuesday. Some good guesses coming on through and some smart guesses. We'll talk about it in a second. Chop It is not touched by an angel. I don't know if that was an official guess or just you're having some fun. It's not seventh heaven either, but you're not in the right path officially. I'll help you out. It's not that's not where we're at. Okay, crunch time again coming in about let's see, 25 minutes. By the way, speaking of Atlanta, did you see the Freeze lose over the weekend? Did you happen to catch that? Got burnt. You know the Freeze runs in the outfield.
It's to say he got beat is
it's not fair.
He gives him like a 200-yard head start, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. It was pretty impressive. I happened to be watching the game and like I don't know if it's the same guy. I don't know if it's the same Freeze or the one Freeze shows up on Tuesday and another one. I mean, it seems like a tough job if you're doing it every single day, I suppose, but. He got toasted for one game at least. Okay, let's move on. It's Baltimore and Texas. Do we still not have a Texas lineup? I guess it's still 2+ hours. Nothing really to be concerned with. Baltimore lost their Trump. They lost their backup catcher. So Rushman's out too. Just a little subtle thing, Chop. This Brandon Young character, kind of old for a prospect, 26 years old. I was digging into this. He had Tommy John. Not a huge prospect, although I think he was signed undrafted because in 2020, like they only went like 4 rounds or so. So, again, he's 26 years old. We haven't seen him be special yet in the majors in a small sample. He's going to get Gary Sanchez as his catcher. Gary Sanchez known for being a bad defender, bad framer. I don't know how much that stuff matters. They got to call up somebody. They need to call up another catcher because I think Trump's going on the IL. They have an awesome prospect. To keep an eye on it. He's 20 years old. What's the guy's name? Somebody.
Gary Sanchez?
No. Samuel Basalo. He is mashing baseballs in the minors. Yeah, if he gets a call up, and be aware of that in your season-long league. But just keep an eye on it. But tonight, it seems like they're stuck with Gary Sanchez. And far as I know, I guess they called somebody up. But I think it's just Sanchez doing the catching. DeGrom on the other side, one of the better pitchers in the slate. Like you said, the pitch count's not amazing, but he's been super efficient. This Baltimore has been pretty good against righties, but at least according to the numbers. Terrible against lefties. Pretty dramatic splits as a team. But they also strike out a lot, and they're pretty impatient. So, yeah, Texas at home. Young versus DeGrom. Where are we putting the Rangers and the Orioles?
Yeah, well, the thing about the Orioles is I think against a guy like DeGrom, I understand like game theory and nobody's going to play a team, so let's play them a little bit. I don't buy that stuff. The only way the Orioles really end up a full Orioles stack helps to win you a GPP is if like 6 or 7 of the other games get postponed and like you're just sitting on one of the few live lineups, and that's about it. I just don't think against DeGrom. I just don't think you're going to get there in any way, shape, or form. So let's put them in tier 5. Don't like it. Texas, I would like a lot more because of what you said, some of the stuff you said about Brandon Young. But the lineup stinks, man. They're just not a good team generally, and you can one-off Corey Seager and get most of the offense with him. So they're a tier 3 at best. So tier 3 for Texas.
I like Texas more than you do. And Seager and Garcia. Garcia had a 3-run homer the other day in the bottom of the 10th. It was – I don't know if you saw it. He hit the ball.
Last night.
Was that last night?
Yeah. It was. That game was like 1-1 going into extra innings, and they exploded for 2 innings of between the two teams. Yeah,
that's what got me to cash. The Garcia homer got me there. And he was celebrating in the batter's box. It was awesome, just like staring at it, like staring at his dugout. I know it's not been a good year for the Cuban Missile Garcia. He's been pretty terrible, but they're also really cheap on Texas. And Seager's $4K on DK. Like that is, I think that's an awesome play. Mm-hmm. If I was playing cash games, probably my first cash game play that I would throw.
Well, let you talk me into it. Let's bump him up to tier 2.
And we have no idea what this Young is. And also, I mentioned the Gary Sanchez thing. Bad framer, bad defender.
I mean, yeah, he's got a good bat though. But let's go tier 2. Why not, man? You only live once.
Mark in chat saying that I guess Baltimore called up Jacob Stallings.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where he's bounced around. Retread. I guess he was in their minor league system or something. I'm not sure, but they didn't want to have any fun calling up the rookie. He's only 20 years old, so I guess they will wait a season or so. Cleveland is playing baseball here against the Cubbies. Matthew Boyd, Gavin Williams, 8.5 total. Chicago, pretty heavy favorite, a 5 total. The deal with Cleveland, it's been like this all season long. It's J-Ram and then a bunch of dudes. Like you mentioned, Seager, a bunch of dudes. It's kind of like Cleveland. Kwan's obviously not fun to throw baseballs at because he's going to make contact if he's not, getting base hits off you. But otherwise, that lineup around J-Ram is pretty rough. The Cubs are just not really going to get played in this slate, which I think if you're running a bunch of lineups, I think you should probably get over the field here. They're kind of overpriced, but Gavin Williams is sort of a mess. He's not somebody that I'm afraid of. What's your take here with the Cubs and the Guardians?
So starting off with Cleveland against Matthew Boyd, who's pretty solid. Like, again, when I start looking at what Vegas says, Vegas is right a lot more than I am. Hence how Vegas is rich and I'm not. Right. But
you won $1 million a couple times, John. You're right twice at least.
It's gone, Dean. I already spent all that.
Then I went to Beyonce.
Uncle Sam actually gets a pretty big chunk. It's heartbreaking. But Boyd is not bad. So, again, like I was saying about Vegas, like Vegas last night, put this big-ass team total on Boston, and we were laughing. And you were scoffing at Vegas last night, Dean. How could Boston have such a big team total against this young stud prospect, Chase Burns? Well, egg on your face, brother, because
I thought Chase Brown was going to crush, though.
Vegas is very good. You like Chase Brown this year, though? There's a little bit more depth in the Cincy backfield. There's a little bit more depth, but I don't know.
Brooks.
But, Cleveland's getting a 3.4 implied team total. Vegas is right about this a lot. That's a low number. That's a very low number. I'm putting Cleveland in tier 4. It's a good pitcher, low team total. Not a particularly good ballpark tonight as far as the weather and everything that goes around with it. So they're a tier 4. Chicago, I'm with you. I think that it's debatable, but one of the top 2 or 3 offenses in baseball when they're healthy and they've got everybody in that lineup. Gavin Williams will get into massive troubles with walks. And if you get him out of the game, you can get into the bullpen early. I do like that. So I don't mind your call right there. Dang, Dean, I'm not going to lie. On my list right here, I have him as tier 3, but you talked me into a tier 2 again, Dean. You're on fire today. Fire. The signs are there, Dean. The signs
There's
are there.
There's that word again.
Let's put Chicago in tier 2. I can't deny it. You talked me into it.
I noticed that TJ in chat was getting a little excited. He was chirping about his Blue Jays right when George Springer hit a grand slam against the Yankees. I think TJ's excited. I think TJ's watching the Blue Jays-Yankees game, and he's not. This is why we never got the poll. He's like, I don't have time to make a poll. I'm watching the Yankees.
You didn't get the poll because you dropped clue 2 right after you told me to make a poll, so I can't do both of those things at the same time.
So they expire?
It did. I did expire because then I had to make the tiers. But no, I got the notification that Springer hit a grand slam, and then I realized that they're going to only be one game out of the AL East league.
Second home run of the game there for George Springer. So shout out to him. Let's go ahead and drop another clue because with 3 clues in, I don't think we have a winner just yet in the Discord. It's not Ozark or Portlandia or Nashville or Degrassi. I see what you're doing there with Degrassi. Did you watch Degrassi? I think we're too old for Degrassi. I'm pretty sure.
No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't watch that garbage.
I mean, it was Canadian Saved by the Bell, right? That's my understanding.
No, I don't think so.
That's what it was. I mean, it wasn't actually Saved by the Bell, but I think that's what kind of what it was.
No. Saved by the Bell was a comedy, and Degrassi is like drama.
Okay, Canadian Beverly Hills 90210.
Closer. Yeah.
Okay. Did you watch Degrassi?
No.
Okay. Fair enough. The fourth clue is soar. Talk, sing, miracle, and soar. That is our first 4 clues. 1 clue on layaway, and then we'll use a bonus clues if necessary. I don't think we're going to need them. We'll see. Next game up here, it is your Houston Astros in Colorado. 11.5 total, big boy total here. We think of the Astros lineup. It is Paredes, Myers, Altuve, Cam Smith, batting cleanup, Caratini, and Diaz. So both catches are in there. Christian Walker down to the 7 hole. Cooper Hummel, and Mauricio Dubon in the 9 hole. We do have Hunter Goodman back today for the Rockies. So some power there. Goodman, Beck, and Doyle taking on Colton Gordon. Where do you want to throw your Astros and the Rockies?
Colorado, I just don't think they're a particularly great lineup. I think there's a couple of guys in there intrigue me, but I don't think that we're going to consider 2 guys a stack necessarily. You know, that's a really small stack. So I don't have interest in like 3 or more of them. So I'm going Colorado tier 3. It is in Coors Field, and Colton Gordon might not be very good, but who knows? So that's a tier 3 for me. Houston, yeah, I'm going to put them in tier 2, Dean. I'm not going to go up to tier 1 with them. They're a tier 2. I think there's issues here. I think there's issues with this lineup as far as the injuries, and it's just not as strong because of those injuries. So, you know, a full stack is, I don't know, doesn't feel great. Chase, who is this? Chase Dollander. Like, I want to say right off the top of my head, I stacked the Dodgers against him last time out in Coors Field, and I think they eventually got him to the bullpen or something. But while he was in there, I think he was pretty good. I'm not sure, but yeah, you look that one up. But him, you know, I think he held the Dodgers in check. When you stack the Dodgers, you want more than 3 runs in 6 innings. But you know, I don't know. Houston's a tier 2. Just if Pena was in there and Jordan was in there, this would be a tier 1 for me. But they're not. So.
San Fran, Arizona, Zach Gallen at home versus Hayden Birdsong. Look at Birdsong. His splits are really dramatic. He's horrific versus lefties. Ketel Marte, for me, one of my best hitters on the slate. He's going to cost you. And a lot of people, I think, are just flat out punt second base. There's a lot of punts per second, so I like the idea of spending up to be different. With Ketel, I wish Perdomo was cheaper. He's probably not a 4-7 player, but you know if you're stacking them up. Naylor's back too, so you got some power and Naylor. A bunch of lefties are rolling out, and even the righties. You know, Suarez especially has immense power. You do have a punt there. You know, James McCann, once upon a time, a lefty masher. It's not facing a lefty tonight. McCann plays for the D-backs. Shout out to him. That is your Arizona lineup. No San Fran lineup just yet. Speaking of, look at that. Ketel Marte, just kind of speaking into existence, I suppose, is the second Spidey Bomb. You keep hitting that like button, you get more Spidey Bombs as we close in on Crunch Time. Crunch Time coming in 10, 15 minutes or so. We got Erik Beimfohr, Dave Potts, Cheese is Good, as well as cheap meteorologist Kevin Roth. Will tell you what's going on weather-wise. Giants, D-backs, what do you got for me, Chop?
More of an offensive game here. I like it. I don't mind what you said about going against Zach Gallen. I'm gonna put San Fran in tier 3 though. I'm not gonna go too high on them. Tier 3 sounds about right. They disappointed big time last night. Like I needed them for all the marbles and they didn't deliver. So I'm a little bitter on that one. And speaking of rostering them and not delivering, Hayden Birdsong, brother, I rostered him last outing against Miami, and he went negative. He went negative, man, before he got run out of the game. At home, too. It was just pathetic. By the way, your Miami is on like a 7-game win streak. Congrats, Dean.
It's not my Miami. We broke up years ago. But
congrats to you and your big fish, the big fish down there. Yeah, they got something going. Hayden Birdsong stinks. Not gonna make that mistake again. I'm going Arizona in tier 2.
I did mention it, so I should give the numbers as far as Birdsong. Birdsong versus lefties this season, 248 ISO, 384 WOBA, 11.4% walks, 21% Ks. That's okay, not great, but just significantly more vulnerable there to the lefties. And Cattell, 329 ISO, 461 WOBA, just smashing them. Just been awesome this season. It's great to see Naylor back in there too. He's got a ton of pop. It's kind of a bummer you have to pick on DK between Smith and Naylor. You can't get them both because they're first base only, but both look really good to me if you're stacking up Arizona. KC, Seattle, Lorenzen versus Hancock, 8 total. It's just this ballpark, man. I don't know how Kyle Raleigh keeps doing it. We did see a Rosarena get a hold of one last night. J-Rod's not as advertised. Just, he's good, but he's a superstar. Yeah. The ballpark holds him down, I suppose. And then speaking of, it's Bobby Witt and a bunch of dudes here for Kansas City. I think eventually Caglioni's going to get there, but he's been kind of scuffling. But, I just don't like stacking games in Seattle. Not that these pitchers are to be feared, but you tell me, Royals and Mariners.
No, I mean, the thing about the game, Dean, is that the pitchers are bad. They're not good. So that makes me not be able to put these guys in the lower tiers because the pitching is bad. And, we've seen some explosions in this ballpark before, but not a fan of either one of these guys. But then again, I'm not a fan of attacking a game that's in a spacious ballpark like this with offenses that don't really jump out to me. So both of these teams are tier 3. They are what they are. Nothing standing out about them. Seattle, KC, both tier 3 teams.
We got the Rangers, Smith, Seager, Semien, Garcia, Osuna, Heim, McKinney, Duran, and Haggerty. That is your Texas Rangers lineup tonight. We got the Royals as well. Witt's in there, Vinny P's in there, Perez, Caglione. India's leading off if you want to have a piece of that. I do not. All right. We have one game left. We got the Choppers Knockers. We also have the old BBP suggestion of the day. 5th clue for Television Tuesday. We got to the 5th clue. I think people might get there. We'll see. The first 4 are Talk, Sing, Miracle, Soar. The last clue, Chop, is Practice. Practice is the last clue. Get in that Discord. Get yourself a week free of RG
Dean,
Premium.
Breaking news. Duncan Robinson signs with the Pistons. Boy, you lost Duncan Robinson.
That's going to be my Heat are just pathetic. They're in shambles. That's not a big deal, but what are they doing? They're stuck in the middle. 3 years, $48 million. Is that them saying they're not signing Beasley? I think that's what they're saying right there when they sign Duncan Robinson for $48 million. What's happening with that? That's a
moderately fun NBA stuff going on with the Nuggets. In my opinion, have gone significantly better in the last 2 days.
The Nuggets did get good.
The Bucks cut Damian Lillard and signed Miles Turner.
Yeah, that's a bad. Yeah, I mean,
Giannis
I saw somebody.
there.
Well, I mean, Turner's just not that good. He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't very useful in the playoffs.
Turner and Giannis were making it. We're getting together to make it work. They wanted that to happen. It was Giannis who recruited Turner.
Okay.
But apparently Giannis had no idea that Lillard was getting cut to make it happen.
Well, I mean, he had 2 years left. He's 35. He was the Achilles, and he wasn't going to play this year anyway. So
there's no doubt. I get that, but
yeah,
I saw a little thing of the as of right now what the Milwaukee starting lineup looks like. Buddy, Giannis is out of there. Kevin Porter Jr. is your starting point guard. Gary Trent,
Lopez is gone.
Kyle Kuzma is your starting small forward right now.
Oh my gosh,
this guy he can't stick around to that. Man.
So Kevin Porter Jr. and Kyle Kuzma, if you're gonna make a list of players you don't want to play alongside, those are the top 5, maybe. Both those guys. Kuzma is definitely on the board, the Family Feud board.
It's a tough deal for Giannis, man.
Yeah, they better not give him any. I mean, he got them a championship. I thought they were going to try to the Turner thing. I don't know what they're thinking. What a bad contract that is. But I saw people complaining about SGA getting paid, and that's the best contract we've seen in free agency. Not that he was a free agent, but yeah, he's worth $275 for 4 years. But Miles Turner for $105, just throwing money away. Dennis Schroeder, 3 years, $45 million. Are you serious? Just get a rookie.
funny money in the NBA right now. That's all. Like, none of it matters. Like, it sounds like a lot to us. It's not really a lot to them. The owners, they're making. If the owners can give out those contracts, imagine what they're making. Like,
yes,
So
as crazy as it sounds that he is making over $70 million a year, they're worth every penny. The Golden State Warriors were worth $400 million when they drafted Steph Curry. The team's now worth $9 billion. So the owners are still getting their money's worth.
And the Luka going to the Lakers probably made that franchise like a $500 million richer as well too. But when they just sold it, we did get a winner. We did get a winner in the Discord channel. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about the last game. Good timing here. I think we got the Dodgers lineup just dropping on us. Oh God, the Heat got someone Fontecchio. So great. All right. It's all going to be great now for my Ohtani, Freeman, Smith, Muncy, Teoscar, Pages, Conforto, Edman, and Kim gets the start here in the 9-hole. Yamamoto throwing baseballs against the White Sox. That's Shane Smith versus Yamamoto. The Dodgers more than a 3.5 to 1 favorite, minus 362 to be all technical. You got to pay for Ohtani. Bets, by the way. At what point do we start saying it's kind of shaky? Remember the start of the season? He lost a bunch of weight and he hit a couple homers. I guess he's going to be fine. Maybe he's not. I don't know if it stems to that, but it's not been a good year from him. And I know Dave's talked about it several times as far as just hitting the ball hard hasn't really been his thing either. Muncy is probably my favorite non-Ohtani piece here, especially when you consider salary. Where do you have the Dodgers and the White Sox on the board?
Salary and glasses. He's got glasses.
He can see now. Yeah,
he can see now. White Sox are a no-brainer number 5. Like there's zero interest in stacking Chicago White Sox. Tier 5. Put them all the way down and don't look back. On the other hand, the Dodgers, the bets thing, I guess it really doesn't matter as much, but that's a pretty high, lofty team total. It's a marginal pitcher. I don't know. They're just pretty good, man. They always get there, it seems like. Even when they struggle out the gate, they seem to get there somehow. So I'm going to put them in tier 1. Got to do it. As much as it, pains me to do it night after night, they're just a good offense. So tier 1 Dodgers.
All right, I'm going to recap the board, Chop, and then afterwards you're going to give us the knockers. You're going to give us the BBP suggestion of the day. I ranked my favorite Canadian artists. Arcade Fire is tier number 1. That's the Braves and the Dodgers. Tier number 2 is Alanis Morissette. That's the Rays, Boston, Cincinnati, Texas, Chicago, Houston, Arizona. We have Rush in the 3-hole. That's Colorado, the Giants, Kansas City, and Seattle. Drake in the 4-hole. That's the Athletics and Cleveland. And, of course, Nickelback is in the 5 spot. The Angels, the White Sox, where they always are, as well as Baltimore. All right, Chop, the people want it. They've been hitting the like button. They've been subscribing. They've been turning on notifications to give it to them. They want the knockers, and they want the BBP suggestion of the day.
I've said this on many occasions, Dean, about the BVP suggestion of the day. It's all about the algorithm, and sometimes it just does. Sometimes it's just not there. Sometimes there's just not anybody there that you can recommend. So today, I'm not recommending. I'm not suggesting necessarily anyone. I'll throw a name out there that was
broken.
No, I'll throw a name out there. Well, Dean, like, you have all these inputs for the algorithm.
A lot of
them. And sometimes there's just not a match right there. It's just not a match. So today, as far as like a suggestion, a really nice suggestion, there's just not a match. I'll throw the name Julio Rodriguez out there. But on a normal slate, he's down in like tier 2 or tier 3. He's not a tier 1 suggestion normally. Not these numbers right here, but we'll throw Julio out there. But the numbers are a little bit rough today. So the knockers are what we got to rely on, Dean. We got to fall back on the knockers here because the PvP suggestion today is not very strong. This stinks, Dean. We got weather issues all over the place. I would hate to give knockers that get rained on. I would hate that. That'd be a wet t-shirt contest waiting to happen. We don't want that to happen. We want dry knockers, to be honest with you. We want to keep our knockers dry. I don't know, but I did this ahead of time. I got to go with it now, Dean. I mean, sometimes this stuff just writes itself. Sometimes, when you have if the dick fits on knockers, you gotta roll with it. I don't know, something something playing around with Dick Fitz and knockers because I'm going Matt McClain and Spencer Steer from Cincinnati versus Boston. Don't want to get rained on. Don't want a wet T-shirt contest on my knockers out there, but I got to roll with the Dean because it's just not often I'm on the show with Dick Fitz, and I got to make it happen.
Weren't you saying previously to roster Fitz? Did you say both things? I feel like you were suggesting.
I said
you had a whole saying that they're saying Boston.
DFS is all about just suggesting. I'm not giving. There is no such thing as a sure thing. No, I said Fitz. He was the last pitcher I forced into my top 10 just because of the salary. So you can roster him. You know, Dean, this is DFS. Didn't you try to make a Boston stack last night, even though you loved that Chase Burns kid?
I did, and I clicked the button about 3 seconds too late.
Sometimes you can have two things can go on simultaneously. What is it called, Dean? When two things can be the same, can be truthful at the same time. What is that?
I don't know. Was that a thing? I feel like that's a thing, but I can't quite get the definition. Yeah. Maybe Chat can help us out. By the way, I was just noticing Ozzy Albies, 6 career bats versus Tyler Anderson, 3 homers. And he hits on the other side.
Yeah.
I know he stinks now, though, Ozzy Albies.
I mean, it's not just that, but 6 at-bats, that's laughable. The algorithm's not picking up on 6 at-bats.
Well, it picked up on Jay Rodriguez's 11 at-bats. 11, that's more than enough. 6, not even close.
It's almost double, Dean. It's almost double.
But Albies has 3 times as many homers than J-Rod has. He's got one little homer. And by the way, not a lot of power versus righties historically. Just throwing it out there. Not a ton versus lefties either, to be fair. He's got some, but not necessarily a ton. Yeah, mutually exclusive. That's a Roth. Roth is chiming in. That's what you're talking about, right?
That's what I was trying to get you to say, but you didn't jump on that, Dean. You didn't take the bait.
Yes, are you playing like a secret game? Like if I say a certain word, like
no. Say Dick Fitz.
Speaking of, by the way, playing a game, our winner today for Television Tuesday, Chop, it is Dunk 101. I think that's a repeat winner. I kept with the theme, Chop. The theme today, Canada Day. We're shouting out Canada. I wanted to pick a television show that had something to do with Canada. The host, the creator, the star is a Canadian comedian. First clue is talk. The premise of this show, one of the premises of this show, in theory, is talking about how communication is very important in the cockpit for pilots. There is actually a singing competition on the show. It doesn't make any sense. They're not mutually exclusive, but there is actually a singing competition. Wings of Voice, of course. We all watched Wings of Voice. The third clue was miracle. There was a miracle on the Mojave that took place in this television show. It's on HBO. Do you not know what I'm talking about? You've not watched this show, Chop? It doesn't sound like you know it. Soar is in reference to planes. Planes are a big theme of the show as well. And practice, another way of practicing something, you are rehearsing something, is, of course, Chop, this is the rehearsal.
Nope.
The rehearsal? No?
Nope. Wasn't going to get that one.
Oh, man. It's, at least in my circle, we I don't know, different circles, I suppose, but we loved the rehearsal. Nathan Fielder is a Canadian comedian who's just
goofball.
Stop it, goofball. He's outstanding. Chop, how dare you? It's outrageous. That's worse than your take on
let's
John
get
Boy.
a plane and put John Boy and Nathan Fielder or whatever his name is. Let's start the plane ride right now and ship them out.
So, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but you're going to be in good hands if that happens to be the case, because Nathan Fielder's got you. All right, crunch time is here. Let's go ahead. Let's bring them on. We got Dave Potts, Erik Beimfohr, cheap mineralogist Kevin Roth. Let's do it. Crunch time right now. All right, we want to hear what Roth has to say about weather, but I got to know, Beimfohr, have you or have you not drafted Darren Waller today?
No, absolutely not. I even posted friends don't let friends draft Darren Waller in the year 2025. I can't believe that's the intro to all of this. Darren Waller, but here we are, I guess.
Well, I see you. I think of best ball. So is that something people are doing? I don't know what the reaction is, but apparently he's going to replace Jonnu Smith, at least try to.
Yep, people have forgotten that he's old and hasn't played football in a long time. Notably, Kelsey Plum kicked him to the curb. I don't know if anybody is aware. The vibes are all time bad.
He's a good rapper, though. I don't know if you've seen his work.
Good is up for debate, I think. But yeah. As soon as Kelsey Plum kicked him to the curb, I was like, "This guy, we're done. It's over. The run of Darren Waller fantasy relevance is over."
Yeah. But I guess the Dolphins, it's worth a shot, I think, for Miami, just because what else do they have? But it's probably not going to end well. Is that the assessment?
Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane. They don't have to throw the ball to 33-year-old Darren Waller.
Tyreek might be done.
So might Darren Waller.
Well, he probably is, but you're spending a first rounder on, I guess, a third rounder on Tyreek Hill. All right, that's enough best ball talk. The people want to know what Roth has to say as far as weather. Chop, you got anything for the people? We can just step aside and get out of here and make way because the Boston game's going to take precedent. You got anything, Chop, or we're going to go?
We need to go.
All right, that was Chopper. I was Dean. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time. It's two of the sharpest minds in the biz. Dave Potts, Cheese is good in the house. What up, Cheese?
Well, some days are just kind of like this is terrible, and I'm not even you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of how I felt about today. A lot going on. Shout out to most of the teams who are at least smart enough to do early postponements. Like 5-10 years ago, that wasn't really a thing. Everyone would just show up and we would all be, waiting, trying to figure it out. But teams are a little bit smarter. So that's nice to see. Beimfohr in the house as well. What's up, man?
It's wonderful. The NBA offseason. The NBA is a year-round sport. I don't mean to derail with NFL. I didn't want to talk about Darren Waller. I wanted to talk about the chaos that is the NBA offseason already. We got 24 hours in, not even before we got the LeBron cryptic tweets, and we got to do it's awesome. The NBA has figured out how to be a soap opera and a sport at the same time, and baseball should take after that. We should get into this nonsense, that is the NBA offseason. But it's been absolutely.
I was going to ask, it's so weird how it seems like literally 30 seconds after the finals end, these huge trades start happening. I'm not making that up, right?
The draft is 3 days. The draft was 3 days after the finals.
It's wild.
Yeah. And then free agency opens up and then it's more drama. Yeah. Baseball does need more drama. There's not a lot of sneaky drama.
You get a few days off. It happened before the finals ended this year. Kevin Durant got traded to the Rockets on the same day of Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Yeah, you can trade during the finals. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
The Nuggets, the Pacers were in the finals and traded their 2025 first round pick to move to 2020. It's they've figured out the soap opera aspect of it for sure.
Yeah. Richie pointing out today is Bobby Bonilla Day.
Bonilla.
Yeah. Which is always fun. You
don't know this, Roth?
Well, I know about it. It's all over social media every time, but I just read. I've never. How do I say that? I don't know. I don't follow baseball. Give me a break. What I do follow is the weather, and we do need to dive into that a little bit. 3 games have been postponed. Philly, Washington, New York. Is that right? That sounds right to me. That leaves us with 2 games that could see potential issues. The Tampa game is fine. Colorado game is fine. Both of those spots really good for hitting. Winds are blowing out. It's warm. I absolutely love the weather in both of those spots. But Boston and Atlanta could still see some issues. We'll start with Boston. Cheese, what do we want in Boston?
All the bats. This is the problem. It's like the chalk of the day.
Yeah.
It's the bats there.
Not ideal. I think if they late start this game, you probably don't play anyone or anything in it. If they play on time, and they might, then you bet unders on all the pitching props, make some money, and hope that they wait out a really long delay, right? That would clearly be their plan, I think. So that's my current approach, Cheese, is that if they play on time and they don't announce a late start, play all the bats. If they announce a late start, I'd be pretty worried because it could be a while before it's clear.
Now, so if they start and then get delayed, that you more than likely they come back and keep playing?
I think so, because they would do it with that plan in mind, right? They would be doing it knowing that that's the game plan going into it. Storm rolls through, that takes maybe an hour. behind that, there's maybe an hour of lighter rain, maybe 2 hours of lighter rain, but maybe they just get out there and play and finish it up in some lighter rain.
What's the Boston like a track record for
no
that?
idea.
I know that I know you generally track some of these. Are they on
I
the
try to
better
keep
side or
track
the
of
worse
that
side?
in my head, but I can't think of anything too egregious that they've done. So that's a plus, but I really don't know.
Other than run their baseball team. Yeah. But
Right.
weather-wise.
And then we've got Atlanta, and Cheese, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a swap at some point in the day that suddenly made Atlanta very valuable for pitching.
Yeah, it's not like the chalk pitcher, but one of the guys who's very much in the mix is the Atlanta pitcher. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you can do it in cash. In Atlanta, there's going to be pop-ups, and I can't tell you where they're going to be, and I can't time it out for you, but there is certainly a chance of a delay. So if you want to roll that dice in tournaments, I'm cool with it. I think it probably works out, but there's a legit chance that a storm just goes up over the ballpark and you get a long delay, and you're not getting what you want out of your pitcher. That's pretty much as specific as I can get with those two games. Is that good enough? Is that a functioning plan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like it. Like, it's one of those, this would be a great day not to be on the show. So I could do my lineups right with Boston. I took most of my stuff out. I have some stacks. I had so much of that game, as did kind of everyone. Now I'm just hoping everyone else just plays it as usual, in which case Boston is the chalk even over Coors Field, and then they somehow don't play.
Do you think is that what you think? I'm trying to figure out what that's my favorite game, so I'm trying to figure out as well. Like, is everybody going to move off of it, or are they going to stay? And then, in which case, we should move off of it.
Yeah, my best guess is if they don't late start, that it remains the chalk.
Yeah,
I would agree. A few people asking about bats in Atlanta, and I would play them. I can't promise you're going to get 9 innings out of it, but I would play bats in Atlanta unless something looks wildly different in the next 30 or 40 minutes. That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
That's
it is worth noting since Dean asked. We haven't had any rain here that would stop baseball, so we're good to go in Atlanta.
That is
2 hours from now.
Well, now we know. J-Mam says, I want as little risk as possible with the weather. Can you please tell me an avoid list? Sure, that's easy. Don't play Boston. Don't play Atlanta. Everything else, there's no risk. It's just those two games that have some issues. And that's it for now. I will watch radar. I'll see. Of course, we'll monitor what Boston is doing, and we'll let you know if anything changes. But let's dive into what we are going to do. Cheese, you can lead us off with some pitcher talk.
Yeah, it's a very weird slate all around. Like, there's a couple of good pitchers, but they're not quite like the, oh my gosh, I have to play these guys for $11,000 with Yamamoto and DeGrom. Like, Yamamoto hasn't been as good. He's been good, but it's pretty clear to me now that he is just a very good pitcher and not a great pitcher. For the first few starts, it's like maybe he's great. He's not great. He's like a 25% strikeout guy with fine, like, he's good, but he's not really an 11K pitcher. So then it's a matter of how bad do you think the White Sox are and how good is this matchup? To me, they're not bad enough to make it a great matchup. I'm just kind of lukewarm on Yamamoto. I think DeGrom is a better pitcher than Yamamoto. Similar strikeout matchup, tougher matchup overall. On DraftKings, I just prefer DeGrom. With the $500 is useful. On Fanduel, I'm really not playing much of either of them, honestly. Like, they're totally fine. Like, you're not going to lose because you played those guys getting you their 35 Fanduel points or your 20 to 25 DraftKings points, but a ceiling game just doesn't seem super likely. So personally, I'm playing Matthew Boyd almost everywhere. I think the interesting discussion point before we get to Grant Holmes is Shane Baz versus Matthew Boyd. Projections like Baz, I think ownership will be basically a toss-up. I've been totally off of Baz for like 2 months because he's been bad. And then all of a sudden, last start, he was all of a sudden back to the guy he was at the beginning of the season. It's like, okay, he's fine now. I have no idea if he's fine now or not. Like, Matthew Boyd is just for sure good. And can have a bad start, but he's been good every start. He has a great matchup. Like, the Guardians versus lefties are just terrible. So I simply prefer Boyd over Baz. And I prefer Grant Holmes over Boz as well. And again, I'm not sure on Boz. Like, he might just be back and he's fine and it's a good matchup and now he's good again. I'm not telling you not to play him. I'm just telling you that I'm not playing him. Grant Holmes is boom or bust even before the weather. Like, he give up 4 home runs. I won't be surprised at all, but he's striking out like 32% of righties and faces a very high strikeout right-handed team. So particularly on Fanduel, where he's 9,100, I love him. And I like him almost as much as DeGrom on DraftKings. So now the cheap stuff is terrible. So I'm really trying to spend up. Like, anywhere I can, I'm doing Boyd plus any one of those other guys. Because I think the cheap stuff, and cheap includes the mid-tier, because I think it's all so bad, like, I'm just going all the way down. I'm playing nonsense like Emerson Hancock. I mean, he's terrible, but so is everybody below $9,000 or below wherever Boz is, below 8,800. They're all bad. So just give me a cheap guy. I am okay with Jeffrey Springs. I've got him as well. That's all I'm playing. Like, I have no other names to say. It would be great if Zach Gallen was good again, but he's given us no reason to think that he is. So I'm out.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Erik, your thoughts here with pitchers? Looks like we've got options in all the ranges, but none of them are locks.
Yeah, I think Cheese kind of hit it at the beginning, and how I framed the pitcher slate today for me is the spend ups are fine because they're better than the alternative. They're not really worth, like, on a normal slate where we got a bunch of pitchers we really like. I don't want to spend $11,000 for Yamamoto. Like, DeGrom is great. The current version of DeGrom with the pitch count and slightly lower strikeout rates is really not awesome. Especially in this matchup, which is like whatever at 10,000 on DraftKings. The spend ups to me are, I don't fear them, right? This isn't Scooball. This isn't Crochet in a good spot. This isn't that kind of so I don't fear them very much. And so my favorite pitcher, like point per dollar, is 100% Matthew Boyd on this slate. Like, slam dunk, run to the podium. I can almost guarantee you I'm playing Matthew Boyd today. The matchup, I think he is solid. And it's kind of driven by, like what I said, that I don't fear anyone like burying me. I don't fear the Scooball, like 14 strikeout game where it's like, oh, it's over, if you didn't have that guy. Yeah. I don't fear that. Matthew Boyd is not going to do that himself, but I know Matthew Boyd is almost assuredly going to have a good game. Like 95 times out of 100, I'm going to get a score today from Matthew Boyd that I feel fine about. I can win a tournament with him. And so I'm similar to Cheese with, like, I'm pairing Matthew Boyd. And then, look, I think we've been paired on shows every single time Jeffrey Springs pitches, and it's really starting to get frustrating because, every once in a while there's a good one, and then there's a lot of like sevens mixed in there. But if there was ever a slate for Jeffrey Springs to, like, you're okay with his, 7 or 8 point game, I do kind of think it is today at 6,800. And I have a lot of expensive bats that I would really like to afford. And so, Matthew, especially on DraftKings, Matthew Boyd at 9,000. Jeffrey Springs is my second favorite guy. I know that it's Roth is going to say, I love the bats in that game, and I do too, and I get it, but Jeffrey Springs at 6,800. I'm going to keep playing him in matchups like this, and I think this is a great slate for him where there really aren't a lot of not a lot of good spend downs. I mean, Cheese mentioned Emerson Hancock. Okay, so that's how you know about how bad the cheap options are. I think Springs is a legitimately good pitcher, not as good as he used to be, but I'm going to keep kind of riding the Springs train with Boyd. And I don't hate DeGrom or Yamamoto, right, if you stack a cheaper offense, but Boyd and Springs are the guys that jump out to me. And the Shane Baz thing, I get it. As you see on your screen, I think he's a little over-owned, and I'm gonna go ahead and avoid that one for me personally as more of a small field single entry style player.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Let's talk about Fanduel real quick because we only get one. There's only been one pitcher that you both actually like. Was it Boyd? Are we just plugging him in? Beimfohr?
He's my favorite FanDuel pitcher. Yeah.
Boyd. Cheese, same deal.
Especially FanDuel. I just want to say also he's really good for FanDuel. With that offense behind him, with this matchup, I think FanDuel might even be better for him than DraftKings scoring wise.
Yeah. Very good. I'm just kind of checking. We've got a tarp on the field in Atlanta, which makes sense. A storm just clipped Atlanta, but there's, they can pull the tarp pretty soon, and they've got a little bit of clearing, so then they just have to dodge the pop-ups, basically. Okay. Let's talk about the bats and the stacks. Beimfohr, you can lead us off there.
Well, if we don't like any pitchers, we probably like a lot of stacks, and that is definitely the case. You should probably start with the Astros, which is hilarious because I don't really like the Astros, but the Astros are just an offense that I don't think I played yet this year. I've definitely played a lot more pitchers against Houston with varying levels of results. I just don't think that they're deserving of being and like, I know we don't have them as like the chalkiest offense, but we should talk about and Astros offense in Coors Field. I'm not playing the Astros. That was one of the kind of the first things that you run to Coors Field when you see the slate. And I mean, I'm not playing the Rockies. I understand the 17% optimal. I understand they're better against left-handed pitching. Like, I understand a lot of that, but I'm personally fading Coors Field. It's certainly possible that we get to the end of the show and I change my tune a little bit because of the Reds. Like, the Reds were the reason why, and that game in general in Boston is the reason why Coors Field was less appealing to me. So if that game becomes the chalk and is concerning from a weather perspective, right? That's why I was kind of nibbling on some of that, is maybe Coors Field does become more appealing, even though I'm less excited about both the Rockies and the Astros. But the Reds and the Red Sox both to be standout, particularly the Reds. I do like, though, for tournaments, if I'm going to say, okay, let's stick to the Coors fade, and I still don't want to do the Red Sox thing, working my way down the list, like, you don't see the Chicago Cubs on your list, and like, that is always just like light bulbs, or sirens going off for me. Like, the Cubs are an awesome offense, period, but they're also just a really good fantasy offense. They steal bases, right? We know what PCA does. Kyle Tucker steals bases. Horner, Swanson, Suzuki is really good. They're just a really, really good offense. And Gavin Williams, while I kind of still believe in the long-term talent, has not been particularly good this year, and frankly hasn't been that good in the major leagues to live up to kind of the big prospect talent hype. So there are some like really, really low owned stacks like the Cubs. You can work your way down to the Diamondbacks, I think, that are much, down the list here, where I'm also similar to Gavin Williams. I'm into Hayden Birdsong, like, as a long-term like talent play, but that doesn't mean he's good right now. And that certainly doesn't mean he won't give up a bunch of runs tonight, because he kind of keeps giving up a bunch of runs. It's apparently his thing. The Diamondbacks are, a little bit deprived of talent, but I still like the spot for them. And then the other stack that is definitely on the screen here that jumps out to me a little bit is the Rangers. It's kind of a similar thing where they're facing a young arm that I kind of think is going to be good, but might not be good right now. And so I like to pounce on those, where the field is like, I don't know, he projects okay because he was good in the minors, but the Rangers have kind of gotten a little bit better over the course of the season. Corey Seager is, he'll come up later, is like still an awesome hitter and is very cheap on DraftKings and in an awesome spot. They didn't roll out a lineup I love today, but there's kind of those stacks that are a little bit lower down the board. If you want to get away from Coors, you want to get away from that Reds Braves weather concerns, that I do still like tonight.
Okay, very good. Cheese, let's talk about some of the stacks here. Erik mentioned a whole lot of them. What are some of your favorites?
Yeah, so I mean, officially, I can't say Boston and Cincinnati are my favorites because I'm down to very few of them. But like, if that game plays, Boston is the top stack. Cincinnati's probably my second favorite. Like I said, I left some full stacks, but it's not like that's a can't miss either. Like, nothing's a can't miss. I have 0 Houston. Like, anyone. I could put together a group of 8 of my friends. If I had 8 friends, I could put together a group with 8 of my friends, and we could score 10 runs in cores against any Rockies pitcher in their bullpen. Like, I get it. They could score runs. But this is a horrible DFS team. They're a great real life team. That is irrelevant for us. They're not a good DFS team, and I hate them. I have 0. Let me just be super clear with that. 0. Also interested in Cubs and Dodgers at probably relatively low ownership because of the salaries. The teams that I have the most of are the Giants and the Diamondbacks and the Mariners. It's just like nobody's going to play any of them. They're all facing kind of like pitchers like that. Zach Gallen used to be good, is not. Hayden Birdsong might be good, also can't get a lefty out. Michael Lorenzen, definitely not good. I like those teams. That's kind of my go-to. I have some Braves and Rangers. That's what I have. There you go.
Okay. You mentioned like if in theory you could play the Boston game without any worries, that would be your favorite spot. I haven't seen anything about a late start, so I do assume that they're just going to start on time, which then makes me think in-game delay in the first half of the game. And then they'll probably figure out a way to get it done. I don't know what that's going to take. But that is my current thought there in Boston. Cheese, you putting in more dudes?
Yeah, I'm just I'm putting a couple more back in.
Don't go crazy.
But it's not like I said, it's not like so far ahead of the field that you just have to like, I'm okay to have lowered my exposure there. I probably had too much to start with. So
yeah,
it's fine.
Okay. Let's go around the horn position by position. Cheese, you can lead us off with a little catcher talk.
So yeah, like 7 hours ago, Hunter Goodman was supposed to go on the IL and now he's playing. So I do like him. He's gotten priced up a bit, but like, I don't want to stack the Rockies at all. Gordon is not a stack against pitcher, and Houston has a good bullpen, but I absolutely want to hunt for a little power with Goodman and Beck and Doyle. So Goodman is great. Cal Raleigh is not going to get played a lot tonight, and obviously I like Cal Raleigh. To play either of them, you have to be going cheap in other places, so it's not like I have a ton of those guys. My highest owned player here is the Frenchman, Shea Langelier, 3,500. Both Houston catchers are fine, but again, I'm not playing those guys. Danny Jansen and Logan O'Hoppe and Sal Perez are all in that same range as Shea. So that's kind of the range I'm living in. I'm fine with any of that group.
Okay. Eric, anything you want to add there at catcher?
Yeah, if I can get Raleigh, obviously he's ungodly expensive, but like I didn't during the stacks, I didn't get. Marie asked about the Dodgers. Yes, you can play the Dodgers. Though I kind of just love like the really good Dodgers hitters. I think they were saying right before we got on, like, I'm not so sure that Mookie is old Mookie. I'm not, and like
he's
Tommy
not.
Edman.
I'm not going to say it more than that. You're
Mookie's
sure
not in the lineup today either.
Oh, good. He shouldn't even be in the majors at this point, honestly.
Yeah, of course. He's like 160 pounds. Can you imagine being a professional athlete at that? I could break him in half. I don't know where I was going with this. Ohtani.
Actually, he should play for Houston. That's what should happen.
There we go. That's a great fit, actually. Jordan for Mookie. Who says no? How about that? Another right-handed bat for the Astros. Notably, they love those. But anyway, I do like the Dodgers. It's just kind of the superstars, and I do very much like that Mariners Royals game. So Cal Raleigh and Salvador Perez, both to me at catcher. I'm a big fan of both of those guys. And then it's like, I don't really want to play Yiner, so I'd like the Rangers, and Jonah Heim catcher is not awesome. If I can get Raleigh, great. Otherwise, I'm in the same kind of range as Cheese in that, 3,500-ish range on DraftKings.
Okay. How about first base?
Yeah, Ohtani, he's good. At notably. And I do think I like him at first base a little bit better here, specifically because of I don't think as we're talking this through, I don't think I'm going to play the Red Sox game. So that opens up some things, right? And first base, the Reds have a couple of guys that I particularly like. If you do still want to play Red Sox Reds, Spencer Steer and Christian Encarnacion Strand, I like both of those guys. Whether first and Steer is first outfield, and Encarnacion Strand is first and third, I believe, on DraftKings. And then I think I'm probably playing Ohtani at first base. I do like Josh Naylor from the Diamondbacks here, though the price feels a little rich. And then Michael Busch on my like totally unowned Cubs. I do like Michael Busch at first base also.
Okay, Cheese, first base, please.
Yeah, I like Ohtani. Obviously, that's a pretty hot take. But I can get him. Like I'm surprised how many lineups I was able to fit Ohtani. It's a little harder if you're not playing Red Sox. Like that was kind of the key to the slate. Not only that they're good, but they're cheap. I love Matt Olson. It's so weird to have a lefty-lefty matchup where like both lefties have more power against lefties. It's very unusual, but that's what it is. I like Pavin Smith probably more than Naylor just because of the salary difference. Like that they're like the same guy. I mean, Naylor's a little bit better in real life as far as DFS upside. They're kind of the same guy. So I'm still just staring at Abraham Toro on DraftKings. I took my tag off of him like 2,900, and he's pretty good. I wouldn't argue with you if you're still playing him as a one-off just because he's so cheap on DraftKings. But I got rid of him. And sort of in that range, you could do like Luke Raley or Toglia. They're a little more expensive, but reachable. And that's about it.
Okay. Are we at second base, Cheese?
Yeah, second base is as good as the weather. It's great out here. Marte, like far and away the best guy, but to me, compared to all these other positions, it's not really the spend up for the $6,000 or $4,000 second baseman kind of day. And then even the mid-tier stuff, the Altuve, Brandon Lau, Matt McLean, if you're doing that game, like, I don't know, it's okay, but I don't know. I want to save money. The save money stuff, also not good. I'm doing Polanco, and it was the Red Sox guys. I've pivoted that to Tyler Fitzgerald. You could do Curtis Meade even with some pinch hit risk, but I prefer the Giants. And then Albies is also in my pool.
Okay. Erik, your thoughts a second.
Yeah, I would love to play Matt McLean. That's one of my slappy guys. I'm a big fan of him, but I'm swapping that out. Jorge Polanco, Marcus Semien, Ketel Marte, and Tommy Edman making their way to the top of my to-do list at second base right now. It's really gross. If I can say, is Christian Koss in the lineup? I thought he went.
No, he's out. He's out. He's hurt. It's Wisely in his place.
Oh, Jesus. Even worse.
Wisely didn't actually make the lineup either.
Oh, Wisely didn't either. Who did?
No.
Who is
Yastrzemski, Ramos, Devers, Flores, Smith, Adames, Johnson, Bailey, and Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald. Okay. I mean, you can Tyler Fitzgerald. I've played worse than Tyler Fitzgerald, but hitting ninth for the Giants is not exactly super exciting. But that's where we are at second base. If you really want to punt, as she's mentioned, Zach Gallen stinks now, so I don't hate it. But I if I can get, it's kind of the same thing. If you have enough savings, if I can get Ketel Marte, I would love it. But that's tough to do. And if you don't want to play Matt McLean, or play the Red Sox game, it's a little bit tricky. So then we start working our way down the list, and I'm on to Jorge Polanco, Tommy Edman, and Marcus Semien.
Yeah. Joseph says, how's Altuve at second? Do we mention that?
I mean, if you want to pay $5,000 for a couple ground balls,
easy. I mean, no, your hatred of Altuve's gone a little too far.
He stinks. That left field fence is way too far for him at Coors Field.
I mean, in all honesty, like, he's not good anymore. He's not bad. He really isn't bad. Like, we're not being like, it's kind of joking. Like,
a little above league average, maybe.
Fine. Yeah, he's a little above league average, and he's in Coors Field, so you can play him. But he's not a $5,000 hitter at all in any world.
All right, Erik, your thoughts at third base, please.
Would you play Tyler Fitzgerald for $5,000 in Coors Field? Like, no, you would get laughed at, right? And it's like I'm exaggerating a little, but not that much. What do we say? Third base. Toro was, of course, at the top of my list, and I have so like for anybody that's just joined, I'm not playing the Astros, I'm not playing the Rockies, and I X'd out the Red Sox and the Reds. So if I skip those guys, all the guys you probably want to play, that's why we're talking about some of these guys. My current top play is Austin Riley, which we do have, thankfully, on the other top of our optimal list. I still like Tyler Anderson. I've played Tyler Anderson non-zero amount of time, more than once this year, quite successfully actually in DFS, but I don't fear him. For Austin Riley, that is for sure. Again, if you want to do the Red Sox Reds thing, Encarnacion Strand is here, Toro is here, Mayer is here, et cetera, right? Gavin Lux, there's a bunch of these guys. Max Muncy is probably my top play. I think the price is still catching up to the fact that he seemed like he was cooked for a month or so, and then he's not Mookie. He's not cooked. Max Muncy is quite fine. And then, Caminero, Devers. Cheese, have you been monitoring this? Is Devers back to week one Devers? Because he can't. I watched the last couple of games, and it's funny because he cannot make contact with the baseball all of a sudden. Again, is that real, or like I don't know what to do? I tagged him yesterday, and I'm triggered.
I'm still playing him. Like he definitely like either cares or he doesn't. And right now it looks like he doesn't care. And if he doesn't care, he's terrible. And so I don't know. But when you go back, 3 days, and let's say, okay, he was hot for like a week. So I mean, right. I truly don't know. But yeah, when he strikes out, 9 times in the last 3 games, like he might just be in he's thinking about something else right now. And that's that's really the kind of guy he is. Like, I'm not even joking, So
he's the Stephon Diggs of third baseman, I guess, is what, or is it like but I've been watching each of these games. I've been playing too much Giants apparently, and gosh, it's been brutal. But I do want to go back to Rafael Devers, so I at least wanted to give him a shout. And then I'll never give up on Josh Young until he's finally back in the minor leagues. He's my Edward Julian or something of third base.
Cheese, your thoughts at third?
So if I had to pick an Astros bat, it would be Paredes. But I prefer, I am playing Devers. Austin Riley has gotten priced down. Same thing on Max Muncy. I think he's legit now. And Caminero, same kind of group. It's a good position again. I don't want to spend down too much now, especially if you're not playing Toro. In stacks, it's fine, but essentially that's my group. I think my ownership is probably Devers, Riley, and Muncy as the top 3.
Okay, let's go to shortstop, Cheese.
So, I mean, Ellie De La Cruz is the top play, and he's in Boston. Bobby Witt is just not that much worse. So I mostly pivoted to Witt if I didn't want to rework my lineups, or just go down to like Corey Seager, who's totally back. And then you got extra money to spend. We've all been waiting for Seager to get back, and it's happening. And he's still priced down. So I think it's quite possible that he's just back to being a $5,000 player, but he's not there algorithm wise yet. So, I also moved most of my Trevor Story to Willy Adames. Like, I prefer Story, but with that weather, it's close enough that I just went to Adames. And that's about it.
Okay. Erik, shortstop.
Yes. Corey Seager, just full transparency. I'm playing Corey Seager. So the rest of these guys are just guys, that were initially on my list. Not only is he back, like, he's a 4.13 expected WOBA against right-handed pitching. Like, he's Corey Seager. It reminds me of Trout, where like the results haven't been awesome, but if you like just dig in for 12 seconds, you're like, no, it's all good. Like, he's still hitting the ball like Corey Seager. And just like Mike Trout is hitting the ball like Mike Trout. Don't be worried. The results will start to work themselves out. And as Cheese mentioned, they're now starting work themselves out. So I'm playing Corey Seager. If you want to, as she's mentioned, if you want to dip in, I mean, I love Ellie. I love Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt would be my second favorite, I think, shortstop. And then I don't hate JP Crawford in that game. I don't hate the Mariners, honestly, against Lorenzen in that game. A little worse park, a little worse, of course, weather in that park. But at the price, if you want to save a little bit, I think that's fine. If you do want to dip into the Rockies, what is Ritter's first name? Ryan? Ryan Ritter. I'm not sure he's long for the major leagues, but there's like a Tyler Fitzgerald level, like kind of fantasy upside profile to the kid with a little bit of power and a little bit of speed and hitting in Coors Field. He's cheap. You don't really get cheap access to Coors Field. So like Cheese was like, maybe if you want a home run hunt or, hunt a gap shot from a cheap Coors Field guy, Ryan Ritter at shortstop, I think you can do worse.
Okay. Well, you get to take us to the outfield. What do you like there, Beimfohr?
Oh God. I always wish the other person, I always pray that Roth leads with me so that the other person can get the outfield.
I see.
So now we'll sit here every other show moving forward to see how this goes. But the outfield is awesome. Spoiler. There's a million outfielders that you can play. If you're not playing Ohtani at first base, you can play him here. I'm going to start with some super low owned guys. One of the huge features, I don't know if it's a feature. Actually, I don't know if it's a feature or a bug with the Cubs, because you want to play all their outfielders. They're awesome. The Cubs have basically every night, the Cubs have 4 outfielders that you want to play if you're playing the Cubs, which stinks because you use your outfield spots, but they're amazing. Kyle Tucker is awesome. PCA is PCA gonna break records probably this season with the power plus speed, and then you can get Ian Happ for a cheap price. That's where I'm gravitating towards. If you want to play the Red Sox and the Reds, if I were to play that game, Roman Anthony is a really big reason why I like that game. Spencer Steer, talked about him at first base. TJ Friedel, fine, but Roman Anthony is just a guy I'm gonna kind of keep riding until he either breaks out or gets the Christian Campbell treatment and goes back to AAA. But I'm willing to ride that. A similar prospect on the Royals that Jack, I don't know how to say his name, Caglianone, however you say the
Caglione.
It's weird that other N is in there in the middle of his name.
It is very weird.
None.
Yes, it is very weird. He spells it like a dum-dum. But nonetheless, he has $3,000 on DraftKings, and it hasn't gone well. It has not gone well. But I like to buy those kind of guys. I think they're gonna keep riding it out. They have no other choice, really. The Royals do, but to see when this kid can figure it out. And this is a really, like, if there was a spot for him and his power from the left side to do some damage, Emerson Hancock is probably it. Like there's not that many better spots. So he's in my lineup right now, actually as a one-off. And so I'm a big fan of him. I mentioned Ohtani. I think that about covers it.
Okay. Cheese, your favorites in the outfield, please.
I mean, all the Boston guys, it's such a weird slate. I also like the Cubs as the spend-up guys. That's kind of what Erik said. Jordan Beck and Doyle are the other 2 Rockies I'm playing a little bit of. A couple Angels here and there with Trout and Ward. Semi-cheap along with Doyle, a little bit of Christopher Morel and Adolis Garcia. It's really not great. Like the high end is kind of obvious, like sure, play Ohtani and Acuna and Tucker, and there's those few mid-tier names, but it's kind of like pitching. It's like the cheap stuff is just like you might need to play some of it, but I don't want to mention any of their names and make it sound like I like them.
Yeah. Okay. We got to give some home run calls. Some people have asked for another weather update. In fact, like 19 people asked for a weather update in Boston. It looks like the game is going to start on time in Boston. I do expect a delay in the first half of the game. I think I saw someone posted Singer 17.5 outs is an available prop that you could bet. And I like the under on that. I don't.
You might not get there even if the weather.
Yeah,
is
that's
good.
a fine bet in great weather.
Yeah,
I need to go do that right now.
Yeah. And and then in Atlanta, let me just double check radar there before I open my mouth. Oh, and I'm not certain after that delay that they'll come back out and finish the game, but that's clearly their plan, right? They know a severe thunderstorm is moving that way. So their plan is play, delay, and finish the game. And generally, if a team has something planned, they just follow through with it. They stick with it. And so I do think they likely finish, but it's not a lock by any means. And then in Atlanta, there's one little storm right by them. They might have a brief late start there. Beyond that, everything looks great on radar, but literally at any point, something could pop up and ruin your day. I think if you want to play pitchers there in tournaments, I'm cool with it. I think if you want to play bats there, that's likely totally fine. But I'm not going to call it safe to play pitchers in Atlanta because one pop-up could ruin your day. That's it. That's what I've got. Let's do some home run calls, and then we'll kind of answer as many questions as we can. Erik, give me 2 or 3 names. Somebody who's going yard.
Corey Seager. Ooh. We'll do Corey Seager, Jack Caglia, none. And then Kyle Tucker.
Okay. Cheese, you got a few names for me as well?
Matt Olson, Jordan Beck, and Shea Langoliers.
Very good. We also have Spidey Bomb scrolling at the bottom. If you want another home run, all you got to do is hit the thumbs up. You should be doing it anyways. It's free content. 2 of the sharpest minds in the biz and the best damn sports meteorologists in the country. Also the only one. Spidey Bombs, Matt Olson, Ketel Marte, and PCA at plus 500 there. You can get another one in just a bit. Let's get some questions. We've got 6 minutes until the lock. DK Cash question for you. Cheese, Ritter or Orsia? Is that a typo or is there really an Orsia?
I think that's a typo.
Garcia?
Orlando Arcia.
Yeah. There's an Arcia. That makes sense.
Arcia.
I think I'd do Ritter just because he might be good.
Okay. Erik, got a couple for you here. Myers or Cam Smith, DK Cash?
Cam Smith.
Another DK Cash for you, Erik. Max Muncy, parentheses, the good one, or Paredes?
Ooh. That one's tough. I would play Cash, you said?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, Paredes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I prefer
Muncy, though.
Said this at all. While we're both kind of banging on Houston, they're very good play in Cash.
Yeah.
They're going to hit the ball a bunch in play. They're going to score some runs. By all means, play the Astros in Cash.
Yeah. Okay. Mike says, is Boyd a solid play? Is that a pitcher in Atlanta or am I making that up?
No, he's both of our favorite pitcher by a lot.
Oh, okay.
Matt Boyd in Chicago.
Okay. Yes. We very much like him. Quick pitcher recap, please. We just kind of teased it there, Cheese. Boyd and then
ideally spend up. And I would do DeGrom ahead of Yamamoto with Grant Holmes next. The only cheap pitcher we both kind of like is in air quotes is Jeffrey Springs.
Yeah. Okay. DK tournament. I got to choose from Springs or Hancock for cheap SP2. Who's got better upside? Erik, is this where you prefer Springs over Herbie Hancock?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We're getting a pronunciation on Caglianone. That is weird.
By the Pollock Hillbilly.
Yeah, I don't know
if there's anybody I trust for pronunciation.
It's a Polish hillbilly. Let's see. Finishing up a Cub stack, Cheese, Hap or Bush on FanDuel?
Boy, that's very toss-uppy. Give me Bush, but it's that's make another lineup and swap them.
Okay. R Berm says, Cheese, FanDuel GPP, Boyd Raleigh or Yamamoto Steer?
Boyd Raleigh.
Favorite Dodgers on FanDuel, Erik? Thank you.
Ooh, that's a good question. Ohtani is always a favorite Dodger, no matter the price. Sorry, I'm pulling up FanDuel right now. Of course, it's the last game. Yeah, Muncy is very, very popular on FanDuel, but I will still say he's my favorite. And then I'll say Tommy Edman. As Cheese mentioned, second base is just an absolute disaster. So if you're like the Dodgers, Edman at least fits second base, and he's not going to strike out. I don't know. That's about as good as I can say for Tommy Edman. He's not going to strike out.
Okay. I think the Braves are going to have to late start. They're just about to get clipped by this little storm. It's a big storm, but they're just getting clipped by the very top of it. I think that will trigger a brief late start. We haven't seen an announcement from them, right, on a late start. I think they're going to need one. But again, I think it's going to be brief, and this doesn't really change anything. We're still just hoping they can avoid storms popping over them as the game goes on. DK cash pitchers would be Boyd and Cheese. You said if you can spend up to not Yamamoto, but
DeGrom.
Thank you. DK tournament, give me your off-the-wall stacks. I'll let you both have one.
Giants.
Cubs.
Okay. Boyd or Baz? Baz for a big GPP, Eric. Boyd or Baz?
Boyd.
Okay. I just came in. Can I get a whole game recap? I don't know what that means. DK tournament. Eric, what do you think of Austin Hayes if that game plays for an upside outfielder?
Austin Hayes. Don't love it. Okay. I'm not sure that's an upside outfielder.
I'm trying to get a little tweet out here. Let's see. Should I get rid of my Red Sox lineups and switch them to Cubs or M's? I think we're sticking with at least some. It's not the safe play, but I think
I took it out in. I'm playing one single entry team. I took them out. Cheese put a few more back in.
Okay. Yeah, from what I'm hearing right now, like I wouldn't like just swap them all out. I think it sounds more likely than not that we get a game for bets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Someone just said, "Aren't we late starting in? Is there a late start? No, I don't believe there's a late start in Boston. I believe the plan is start on time. Storm arrives first half of the game, and then hopefully they'll be able to finish. But that's not a given." Less than 2 minutes until lock. Cheese, no love for Gallon tonight?
No.
Okay. Mateo says, Eric, Polanco, Paredes, or Simeon and Goodmuncy, DK Cash.
Say that one more time.
It was Polanco, Paredes, or Simeon and Goodmuncy.
The second one in tournaments, the first one in cash, if that's helpful.
Pitchers are warming up in Atlanta, which, I mean, I think it's about to storm on them. They might want to just take a minute and not. How many likes would we need for Roth to drink a Sonic pickle slushy? An infinite amount. I am actually afraid of pickles. I don't just.
Is that a real thing?
Them.
Do they have that? Is that a real thing?
I don't think he would make that up. I don't know.
I don't know. It would be cool to make it up and give it a restaurant where they made up drinking.
Yeah, seems very specific. I'm terrified of pickles. Like that's my phobia is pickles. So
yeah, same sharks and pickles. Like if you put those two together, I'm totally just out.
Hold on, we have to elaborate on terrified. Like you don't like to eat them, or like
no, like if you bite into a sandwich and it turns out there's a pickle in it, like your day is over.
Yes, that. But also, you could chase me with
life.
it, and I would run. Like
Interesting.
I am. And to be clear, it's like the 13th most common phobia in the world. It's not that weird, so don't judge me. There are more people afraid of pickles than you.
I am disgusted that you've looked this up, but this is news to me because I think we've talked about this. I'm a big Formula One fan. Lewis Hamilton, like the best F1 driver of all time, is terrified of onions.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, it made this billionaire really feel human to me. So now, this isn't the first time you felt.
This has humanized Roth to me.
Yeah, but I feel
for the longest time I've been he's on this whole other level. But now it's like I get this guy now.
I watched him do karaoke and I was like, I can't achieve Kevin Roth level life. So now I feel much closer to Roth.
You drink enough beers and you can. Okay, guess what? We have hit the lock. We've done the things that we came here to do. I need to get some updates out. I'm going to see what's going on in Atlanta. Of course, I'll monitor the Boston game as well, but I think it is time to clear on out. So for Erik and for Cheese, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love it. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been